Welcome back to American Beef Ranch. Today we're working on pump problems. Okay, welcome back to American Beef Ranch. You should definitely like, subscribe, and comment. Check out all the links in the description because there's gonna be some. Today, follow along with me. We got a lot of stuff to do on the ranch. It's gonna be loud right here, but here, bear with me for just a second. So we got a pump problem. And it's not that leak. That's a problem for another day. Problem is that we weed eated and the canal company put a treatment in the ditch for moss. Now when they do that, since I'm organic, I have to shut off because that is a chemical treatment. So what I do is I shut off for 24 hours. Then I turn my pumps back on. Well, that moss deteriorates and breaks off and comes down the ditch. And inevitably it goes into the pumps. When it does that, it plugs them up. So yesterday this pump was completely plugged up. I took it off. I should have taken it all apart and fixed it, but I forgot about this. I took it off, cleaned it out, and got it pumping water again, because that's the most important. Today is gonna be almost 100 degrees, so we gotta have that water pumping on crops. Otherwise, every day it's like that, we're losing water out of the ground, and we can't afford to have that here. That's just not how it works. These pumps are gonna run basically every day for 6 months out of the year, so it's important. The other pump that I use is this guy right here. This is a 10 horsepower pump, that's a 20. The problem with this guy is it's plugged too, kind of. But also I have this 15 horsepower sitting here that doesn't get used, that's my backup. But I think I'm gonna flip-flop them. Now, yeah, I could just push the wires over there, but this mounting is different, and so it's not gonna work. So what we're gonna do right now is take that pump off, put that pump right there, wired up. I'll have a little more pump power, which wouldn't be a bad thing, and I'll have a clean pump. So that's what I'm gonna get working on. It's gonna be loud, so it's probably just gonna be a video of me doing things. The pump power for this is in this panel here. We do have the disconnect, and so there's no power to it, so I'm not gonna in danger of being electrocuted. Ideally, you would shut off the phase converter, but I'm still pumping water, and honestly, I don't want to shut it off, so I'm just gonna do it this way. So, yeah, gonna get to it. All right, we got our wire box open, and you can see we have these interesting wire nuts, to say the least. So, we gotta get those little doohickeys undone. Just like that. Got our wire nut, got our 2 wires disconnected. Pretty simple. Like I said, we just got that a couple more times. And there we go. All of our wires are now disconnected, and so I think what I'm gonna do is transfer the wires over to this pump, hook it up, and fire the pump and make sure it works, because that'd be a good thing, and then worry about the rest of it. Okay, so I got everything wired up. Yes, those are gonna get taped up and cleaned up and closed up. I wired it up, I test fired it, it's spinning the right way, it's working. Nothing smells burn or nothing like that. I just quickly turned it on, shut it off. I'm gonna hit the disconnect again, shut everything off. Now I'm gonna flip-flop these pumps. I may just put that one up in the shop for storage, but this one's going there to pump some water. So let's get to it. Okay, first problem, not really a major issue, but come down here and you got this bolt in there. And I've tried and tried and tried, gone back and forth, and you can't get into it with power tools, but I can't get it loose. So that means we're gonna have to cut it off. This is where the battery powered grinder comes in really handy. I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. If you guys don't have yourselves a nice set of battery powered tools, grinder, impact guns, and you're farming or doing something like that, you should. Go ahead and invest. You won't regret it. Links will be in the description, check it out. So, we're just gonna So now you're gonna see me, we're gonna bring the backhoe bucket over, hook up to this pump, pick it up, move it back, probably just set it right underneath where the bucket is, and then we'll pick this pump up, set it over here. All right, my GoPro overheated, but I got it changed, I've got it wired, I've got it electrical taped, and we're pumping water, and a lot more water, which is great. It means my pressure's up, everything should be working as it's supposed to. To see that I got a lot more efficiency going on. Awesome to see. On to the next project. I got plenty more to do today. I felt like I need to do a little more explaining about exactly why we did with this project that we did. Now, the reason that I originally needed to pull the pump off was because it was full of grass and moss. I needed to clean it because it wasn't pumping any water. Our pressure was terrible. We weren't getting done what we needed to do. But also, I've been looking for an excuse to switch that 15 horsepower pump on there because we haven't been able to pump quite all the water that we have. And so it'd be nice to be able to pump all that water. It allows us a little more pressure, water a few more things if we need to, and our in guns are able to work better. Even though they're not the most efficient, they're able to work better. So I've been looking for an excuse to do that, and this was a good one to do that. Also, I have the electrical capacity over here with my phase converters to do that. I have phase converters are set up of horsepower. So they're like, this one's a 2050, right? So it'll start 20 horsepower, but it'll run 50 horsepower. And I had plenty of extra horsepower in my phase converters to run the pump as long as everything was set up. Funny story though, right over there in the breaker box, a fuse blew a couple hours after I switched this pump. So my electrician came out yesterday, we went through everything, couldn't find a problem. Came to the determination that we just had a little bit of a weak fuse, and between the hot weather and a couple extra amps from that pump, we did bust that fuse. But anyway, it's running now. I did have a lot more projects to get to, but I'm not going to get to those. You guys should like, subscribe, and check out the stuff in the description. I'm going to run out here and switch water. Zam and I are going to run out and switch some water. Come on, Zam, let's go. And then we will be done for the day. So let's get this water switched and then say goodbye. Okay, so we're out at this pivot now, and it looks really good. All the birds are watering that I can see, which is great. We got plenty of pressure and all those things. So we are trying, I've been talking about our water schedule. We've been experimenting with it. So the large pivot, we never shut it off now. We just let it go. We used to run it for 4 days and then run these for 2, go back and forth. But now what we're trying is, I was originally running the big pivot and then switching between 3 pivots, the 3 little pivots, but each little pivot run for 2 days and put an inch of water down. So, and now what we've decided to do, just after thinking about it and how hay works, and with it being so hot, what we're trying now is we run each of the little pivots for 24 hours and then we switch. So that means the field will go no longer than 48 hours without water, or right at 48 hours without water. Come on, Zam. So our hope is that it just doesn't get as dry, that we can keep better moisture in the, instead of 96 hours without water, it's 48. We can just keep better moisture in the ground. And we're putting down the same amount of water, it's just spread out over, a half inch every time instead of an inch every time. And we're not, right now, we already have good water in the soil, so we don't need that extra water penetration because there's already water there. We're just trying to maintain the level that's there. So, so far it's been working good. And, I think that this is what we're going to stick with right now. We have no reason to change, so we're just going to keep doing it that way. And I'll let you know if something changes, but we're going to run up here to this other pivot, get her turned on. It's a beautiful night out here. Got the moon coming up over there. I don't know if you guys can see that, but really nice night. We are doing a lot of work this week for cattle. We want to cut this outside ring, we call it, where the cows are now. We want to cut it for hay at least one more time, probably 2, because the amount of acres that the cows have, they should be able to cut it 2 more times. So what we're going to do is we've got to get the electric fence all set up and ready to go so that we can rotate the cows on and off of with the pivot as the pivot moves around the circle. That the large pivot's moving slow enough now that we're able. I'm stuck. Hold on a second. Got stuck in a pivot track. Oh boy. Like I was saying, is that the pivot's moving slow enough now. We have enough time and leeway with where we can put the fence, and it'll allow us to keep the cows on a certain half. And like I said, the pivot moves slow enough that we don't have to worry about it getting too far ahead. If we need to, we can move the fence a little bit. You know, in 8 hours at night, it won't get too far. But then our goal would be to get it into a certain spot, and then once it gets into that spot, we will then, you know, put the fence behind the pivot and let the pivot keep going around. Come on, Tim. So that's the goal. You know, just try to keep that the way it is. And then we're gonna, like I said, continue to make some improvements. We've got a couple more acres that we need to get the rocks picked and seeded quickly, like within the next 2 or 3 days. And then we've got, oh my goodness, I didn't start the phase converter. We got to walk over here and start the phase converter. Anyway, the electricity for this pivot is out at the road over here. So luckily the pivot's only 650 feet long, but this will give me a chance to walk through the field and look at the crop. It's coming back. You know, first cutting it laid on the ground, and it got cut and stuff laid on the ground for 2.5 weeks. So we did lose a lot of moisture in the soil, and we, you know, the alfalfa looks pretty good considering, and it's going to come back and fill in. After this watering, this field will look a lot better. Some of the other fields look a little better than this one because they've got grass that fills in, and the grass is filling in a lot of the holes. But this one won't be far behind. So we are farming, getting after it. We got a lot of exciting things coming. This week could be huge for American Beef Ranch. I mean, huge. Like, I'm super excited for the possibilities that are coming basically tomorrow and the next day. The next day's come. It'll be sweet. So yeah, we'll get out here and get this phase converter clicked on. If you guys would, you know, please subscribe, like the channel. I'm going to be doing some more philosophy stuff here pretty quickly. I want to talk about regenerative ag more. I want to try some things, hopefully with some new influx of things. We can, you know, try a whole bunch of different regenerative agriculture ideas to help improve the, you know, farm as a whole. And we're gonna keep taking out rock piles and adding acres like I've been doing, because, you know, I've already, after we get those other 2 acres planted, I'll added at least 12 acres to the farm. And hey, 12 acres that I spent $12,000 on is a lot cheaper than buying acres, I'll tell you that much. So, and they're already watered, so that was even better. So super excited about that kind of stuff. But yeah, we need to get some water on this alfalfa, that's for sure. Yeah. Kind of patchy. It's unfortunate. I'm not very happy about it. Unfortunately, we are fighting mice this year also. I mean, they're everywhere, and they've done some damage. They definitely have hurt the yield in this field and that big pivot that we were talking about just a minute ago. So get this guy switched on here quickly and back to the pivot point. Start her up. So here we are. Like I said, power goes underground out to the pivot point right over this knoll here. Pretty simple. On. Go juice. That's a pretty small phase converter. They, like I said, they're size based off of their horsepower. That'd be a 515. Start 5 horsepower, run 15 horsepower. 4 tower pivot. So Ooh, breeze just came in and it's really cool. Must be coming off the pivot, like a swamp cooler. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching the video. You know what to do. Check out the links in the description. That's the best way to support us. I think I burned up my 1/2-inch impact in the water, so I'm going to have to buy a new one. If you would, go check out those links and maybe buy some, maybe not, you know. But thank you so much for being a part of the channel, and I appreciate all of you. Put some comments down there. I love communicating and bouncing ideas and talking with people in the comments. It's really awesome. I mean, agriculture is, a really small community. In the end, we all have mostly the same goals. So, yeah. We'll see you guys next time.